Down. There we go. Smiley faces down. Now you can start doing that. Waving and hello. Marvelous. So this session will run until 11:30. As you know, we won't go over that, but we might not take up all of the time. And we are joined by some very special guests, which I will come on to officially in a second. You might notice Laura is still observing us. So hi, Laura. She's hiding behind the screen right now. And we do have Vicky. Vicky, give us a quick wave, but we'll come to you properly in a second. Thank you. There we go. Now, I know that this week that's just happened has been a tough week for most of us. There is so much going on in the world out there, but also up here. And the demands of you just don't go away. So we were just talking about how at Newcastle University, we are told, just do what you can do. But when you do what you can do, the other stuff doesn't go away. It just gets bigger and louder and noisier. So I completely understand that for some of you, this past week in particular has been a tricky one. So all the more congratulations and celebrations for being here this morning. We know what's happening, and we thank you for putting the time and the effort in to really commit to this program, but also to each other. Hopefully these sessions help you join up with one another and see that it's all part of a bigger process and that you are contributing to something fabulous. So because it's been a tough week, because we've got a lot going on, I think it's probably worth us starting by finding out what good things have happened to you this week. Now, I know some of you have had huge successes, really exciting, brilliant things going on. Andrea, I'm looking at you. But the rest of us will have had something fabulous happen as well. And it might just simply be that you wore matching socks for 2 days in a row. It doesn't have to be life-changing things. It can still be, I got up, I got dressed, and I fed myself well. And that is still a win at the moment. So what I'd like you to do in the chat is to pop in a message that lets us know what's gone well for you in the past 7 days. And as I've told you, thank you, as I've told you, it can be as little as I went outside for 20 minutes every day, or it could be I've got the job of my dreams. Let us know what's going on. Let's fill the chat with absolute happiness. And I've worn the glittery jumper on purpose. So join in, let us know what's going on. Make sure that you're responding to everybody so we can all see it. Let me know what's been happening for you. Share away. So mine is, I went outside every day. There we go. Oh, dogs. Kate, I know you're a huge fan of dogs. So that, what a win. You went to view a house. Yeah, but the dogs. Amazing. That's very exciting. Cuddles from 4 dogs. Were they at the house? Yes. Okay. So you're definitely buying that house, especially if the dogs come with the house. Imagine that. Marvelous. Anybody else? What's gone well for you this week? Let us know. Finally finished some analysis. Since November? Right. Huge round of applause. Thank you, Stacey. That's amazing. You taught your daughter to count to 20. Now, anybody with a small person in their lives, or anybody who's been a small person, knows that counting up to 20 is a huge effort. Well done, Carl. Thank you. It will have taken the patience of a saint, I'm sure. So all the more power to your elbow for being here today. Vicky, you've given yourself permission to relax. Right. Who else needs to give themselves permission to relax? Yes, just to dial it down and go, actually, I'm going to put my own oxygen mask on first before I save the rest of you. So good work there. Thank you very much. You went through all the emails. I don't believe you. Okay, Ricardo, that didn't happen. There isn't such thing as an inbox with no emails in it. Okay, so that's a lie. Good, right. Next workshop, Ricardo, how to clear an inbox. That's what we need. Imagine that, yeah. We all in? Ricardo, I've just made you a millionaire. Okay, you found a buddy to run with? Yes. Are you running every day? I need to move this, I can see you. Yeah? Okay, maybe running every day. Nonetheless, you went out, you saw a person, that's a win, and you did some running and got some time for yourself. That's brilliant. Want to release my stress and frustration. Okay, now we're talking, Dominica. Where are you? Give me a wave. Oh, there she's behind the camera. That's okay. So you went and you smashed some stuff with a hammer. That's brilliant. Perhaps that's your way of doing what Vicky's done, which is giving yourself time to relax, which is brilliant. Yeah, you owned the weekend, Marcos. Yeah, that's fantastic. Who else needs to own their weekend and not give it up for work? But it's okay, because quite often during the weekend I hang out with you guys on Teams, so I'm quite happy doing that because you're really good fun. But it's nice to just avoid the other stuff as well, isn't it? Dominica, you've got new dessing coming up. Is this
I'm sorry, that was design. I was so excited about that. So I just
liked it like this.
Yeah.
Excellent.
But actually, that was liberating. Obviously, I did that on purpose, and I'm coming up with new design for that wall. But it was so liberating, guys. If you have a problem, just smash one of your walls, and that's going to help you for sure.
Please choose carefully. Please choose carefully.
Yeah,
just not any wall. No load-bearing walls. Okay, thank you. Brilliant. First decent draft of a paper. Adriana, you've been working on since July. You guys really commit to what you have to do, don't you? That is a massive thing. But you launched a new website of my association and finished block printing the tape. Right, now you're showing off. So you've done this, Adriana, you've done that, and you finished something. Has anybody set off doing a project during lockdown way back from March that they still haven't finished? Yes, quite a few of those. So I see that as a huge win. That's brilliant. Right, we filled the chat with loads of good things. So in amongst the busy, in amongst the noise, in amongst the I can't do it, you've done it. You've done some really cool stuff. So for those of you who are still wondering, is what I did worth mentioning? Yes, it is. And let yourself know that all of this effort is worth doing every day, even if you put your socks on at the same time. And you had 2 socks on at a time. My son came in earlier, just 1 sock. But nonetheless, he's partially dressed, so that's a win for the morning. Okay, well done, everybody. Thank you. So the focus of today is to come away from the session with ideally 1 new idea, 1 new insight, 1 new learning point, and ideally 1 new action. So something that you will go and do differently as a result of hearing from your course colleagues. And to take us through today, we're going to welcome a friend of the show, as they say on the One Show, and the Action for Impact co-founder. We've got Dr. Vicky Mountford-Brown with us. Give us a wave, Vicky. Vicky's with us for the whole session. You've met her through the on-demand and had a little bit of interaction with her on Teams. So, Vicky, over to you. Tell us how you are and who you are.
Hello. Well, how I am, I'm super excited, as I think I've already said on Teams this morning. I genuinely love working with this program. Meeting, the likes of you guys is an absolute kind of highlight of the working calendar. So I've been doing what I can to try and find out a little bit about you guys from the information that you've supplied us with, and I've been checking in on some of your verbal business cards as well. So I'm starting to get a little bit of a feel for the exceptionally cool stuff that you guys are all working on. So today, hopefully you've had the opportunity to have a look at the materials for this week. But I think, as Jenny very nicely said at the start, we realise we're all humans in this really extraordinary world we're living in right now, and the circumstances, the ripple effect of the way that what's happening, particularly in the UK, and how that impacts on our work in our personal lives, and the constant juggle act that many of us are certainly busy with at the moment. I know that often, even with the best intentions, sometimes it's just getting that headspace to be able to not just engage in learning, but to absorb and to apply and to really think things through. However much we want to do that, often there's the ping of the Outlook, the deadlines that keep on falling into our inbox, or perhaps if you're in a teaching role at the moment, there's the constant stream, the constant pings of emails coming in from students and the like. So it's just to kind of start with that caveat that although I want to use this session to build on those materials you've had access to. I do completely realize that that might just not be where you're at right now. So whilst I'm really interested to find out what you think of the canvases, how they might be useful in helping you to certainly map out your thoughts, if nothing else, let me do a quick poll to see what we've got in the room here, because I want to give everybody the opportunity to talk about their research, their ideas, and get some feedback from the group, as well as obviously speaking to you myself. But there's a few different ways we can do that. So I'm just gonna, hi Sada, we've got a new courseweight joining us. You haven't missed out much from me. So I'm just going to start with a poll to see how everybody has got on with the materials. So it's put my teeth back in. It's an anonymous poll, and it's literally just an opportunity for me to see what's happening in this virtual room at the moment. Okay, so prepare yourselves. I'm going to launch this poll now. So, very simple question. So, have you used canvases for anything before? Have you used canvases for mapping? I'm seeing lots of nods here, which is sometimes what I encounter with this workshop. And have you had the chance to do any work on a canvas over the past week? So maybe you've done yours completely, maybe you just, for all of the reasons that I just mentioned, perhaps you haven't had the time to engage in it. Some of you might have started kind of having a little mess about with it, but on quite near a completed canvas, if you like. All of these things are fine, by the way, guys. It's just so I can have an idea of what we've got in the group this morning. And most people are willing to share, which is fantastic. Now, I think we're almost, there's only one of us that hasn't managed to answer yet, so I'll just give it, right, we're on 100%. Love it when you get a complete poll. I don't know if any of you guys use this in your teaching. Yeah, I find it a really nice starter, so you can kind of understand a little bit where people are at. Okay, I'm going to end that. And just in case you're interested, there's the results. Okay, so half of us here today, you're familiar with the canvas or with various types of canvases, which is great. I'll be interested to know from you guys, you know, whether you've found using canvases as a useful approach to mapping out ideas and projects. And we've definitely got one completed. I know we're expecting Susie to join us soon as well, and I know she's definitely completed hers because she's posted something on the Teams channel this morning. Okay, so good news is that whether you've had the opportunity or not to start working on your canvas, we've got space within this session to possibly help you get started at least. So what I would like to do is for us to break off into our breakout groups. So from what I understand, you guys have been working in smaller groups through the Teams channel so far. So what I'd like to do initially is just keep you within those groups. The idea is that for those of you who are perhaps, I would say, a little closer to completing the canvas, perhaps you would like to lead the way in starting, but certainly if there are people within the group that haven't had the chance to even look at it, you know, you will learn perhaps a lot from observing somebody taking you through their canvas. And what I'm going to do is pop into these breakout rooms so that I can have some interaction and hopefully see some of the work that you've been doing so far. So obviously I'm here to answer any of your questions around the canvases. I alluded to this, I think, within the recordings, but one thing that I'm conscious of is often as researchers, we are working on something very specific that is, you know, one piece of a much bigger puzzle. And I think, you know, the starting premise in thinking about the benefits and the problems, you know, that benefit problem focus that Simon talked about a lot, that's really kind of a crucial step, I would say. So whilst hopefully we'll be able to go through some of the completed canvases today, and we can talk about maybe kind of what you might do with the canvas or how you might take that on to the next stage. Those of you who perhaps are in the very early stages, I can maybe help you work through some of the questions around why and around thinking about, you know, what's the real value piece? How can you more broadly communicate the value of your research? Does that sound okay so far? I must say this is an absolute pleasure seeing so many cameras on. I know some of you have nodded to say that you're teaching, and this is an atypical experience, so it's an absolute joy and a pleasure. Let's see what time we're on. Okay, we're on 20 past 10 at the moment. What I'm going to ask Jackie to do, work her magic, wave her magic wand and pop you into breakout rooms. So once you're in your room, if I can ask you just to start having a chat about the use of the canvas itself. So if you've come across these things before, in what context and how have you used them? Talk about whether you've actually completed your canvas, and if somebody has and they're happy to share that, then there's no time like the present to get started on that. Okay, as I said, I'm going to come and visit these rooms, so we're doing our best to replicate this kind of workshop activity as it might perhaps be happening otherwise in Slady Hall or some similar alternative. Okay, if we're happy with that, I shall look forward to seeing you and talking to you guys in more detail soon. Right, Jackie, if you would wave that lovely magic wand, please, and make us virtually disappear. Welcome back, everyone. Jackie has waved her wand and we're all coming back. Oh, we've obviously still got one room which are deep in the throes of conversation. Here they are, they're all coming back now. Fantastic. Hello, welcome back, everyone. Such lovely smiling faces. Honestly, this is an absolute joy. Definitely the best way to start your day, this. Can we do it all the time, please? And we'll just have nice chats on them first thing on the morning and set ourselves up for the day, yeah? So it's been really interesting to dip into the different rooms. I've been asking fairly similar questions of you guys, and some of your feedback has been really interesting. I think I want to draw attention, and I'm happy to do this knowing that Susie has already shared her Miro link. She showed us a fantastic way of actually creating your own canvas, and I think that's one of the important themes that's come out of the smaller breakout room discussions, that actually it's about making canvas work for you. It's not a case of just using one static tool either. The great thing about canvases is the layering. So you may start just by mapping out your research. I think as Stacey said, you know, it's actually using some of the research article canvases, the academic toolkit. They can be super useful depending on how you approach the process of developing a journal article. So Stacey's example, she used, you know, she's there with the methods and the analysis, but sometimes a case of kind of working backwards to plug in the literature review in the introduction. So actually using a canvas to map that from the start may actually help prove the efficiency and hopefully the headspace involved in that really creative process of writing. We've talked also, I know Carl mentioned he's been using the lean canvas as part of his kind of IQ and development of his businesses. And we suggested that actually using your lean canvas to really think about the problem solution dynamic is it's a really first stage. What you can then do once you're kind of happy with the solution that you're working up, you could then use a business model canvas to then think about how does that function as a whole project. What resources, activities, what funds do you need for that business model to work, for that project to work. Thanks, thumbs up from Carl there. So it's certainly not just one size fits all. There's loads of different canvases for a very good reason. I've been really intrigued by I'll send you the links for all these, by the way, as well. There's one called 4D Sustainability Canvas that I've just been starting to play around with, and I think that's something that would be interesting to a lot of you in the type of research you're working in. One of the other key uses, I guess, for the canvas, one of the main feedback points I've gained from you guys this morning is that the canvas is useful for filling gaps. Whether that's perhaps in your assumed stakeholders and the way that you regularly communicate with people about your research. Often, I think, Kate and I had a bit of an agreement about you can get really involved in your research. I said to another, sometimes you can't see the wood for the trees, that saying that you're so involved in it. Actually, the process of just stepping back and completing a canvas can be useful for reminding yourself perhaps what you've turned your attention away from, or perhaps actually getting you to feel more excited about your research project again, to think about the real potential that this has got. And it is about thinking about potential. Okay, so a few of us have had discussions that as scientists, as researchers, we're trained to look for the evidence and really to make our claims on the basis of the evidence that we have. So it doesn't sit comfortably sometimes making promises of impact. Lots of us are involved in impact applications and various different funding mechanisms. So it feels often like we're promising something that really we're a little bit unsure about. So the canvas therefore has utility in helping you to just kind of map out what those potentials might be. It's about being ready for the opportunity and to be able to communicate your idea holistically, because next week, we're going on to the next stage of the course, which is around kind of pitching and communication. And to do that effectively, you need to have all of the key ingredients, if you like. And I think using the canvas, whichever way you prefer to do it, is a good way to prepare yourself to be ready for when that opportunity arises. So there's no harm, because it's quite inaccessible and it's a very malleable tool. So whilst there's tons of canvases out there, they do have different purposes. And certainly if you've got any questions around canvases, or in fact you want to get a bit of feedback on your canvas, it's not just